Hello everyone, it's a slightly different video today, in part because I'm joined by my lovely wife.
Hannah, my name's Hannah.
We're going to be looking at three Christmas movies, three random Christmas movies. And the logic here was that sometimes when you're like looking for a given movie, and it's any kind of Christmas movie, and you type in the word Christmas, a whole load of just random movies with the word Christmas come up. And I guess they're mostly Hallmark originals or whatever. And I've always just found the idea of those movies really interesting. And the big question that I've been wondering is, you know, are they any good? Are you a Hallmark gal? Oh, am I out of frame? She's the professional there.
There. Well, now I'm kind of out.
There. By the way, just while we're on the subject, the lighting, I don't know how you feel about the lighting. Basically, we just had the main light on, but it was a very kind of warm
it's very
light.
like yellow light.
So now we have my bike light, which is
severely blinding.
A much harsher light. And then I put some, I don't know, like some kind of wrapping paper around it for diffusion. Also, we're actually watching this with the fire on because it was a bit cold. So that's nice and cozy. Honestly, it's a pretty cute setup. Do you have much experience with those types of movies?
A little bit, yeah, but I don't crave them, I guess, like around Christmas time.
Okay, yeah, so that's where we're very different. I crave them, but I have no experience at all with them. So that's what this is really just for me. This is my Christmas present. So let's look at our little randomizer spinny wheel and see what movie we're going to be watching first. Yeah, see if you can like, comment, share, subscribe, and get the bell on all before the spinning's done. Let's go. And it's going to be... Yep. Christmas Cookie Catastrophe. We're starting off, well, we'll see. Right, everyone, we're going to watch that movie and then we'll check back in with you. Bye.
Now that is a good cookie.
So, Hannah, what was the Christmas Cookie Catastrophe?
This woman who owns her own cookie business, somebody stole the recipe.
I'm trying to think like what the order is of the people that they investigate. Because, so who's the first suspect? So there was the romantic interest was the first suspect. And I was like, oh, it was probably his daughter. Because it's established that the dad has financial issues. So I was thinking it was going to be a situation where the daughter's done it, which is obviously a bad thing to do. But it's like, oh, it's okay because she did it to help her dad. I can't... Who was next? The guy who like was selling the hot nuts. What did you think? Did you like the guy with the hot nuts? Remember, like, the oven repairman? There's like, oh, he stole the cookies. And then, this is only an hour and 20-minute movie. And then, it's actually like, oh no, it was the head of the board, because she didn't like the new CEO. And at that point, I was thinking, like, this feels like this movie's really jerking me around.
It ended up being the main character's driver who stole it, but it wasn't for malicious intent. See, this is when you have to explain the whole grandmother thing.
The grandma, like, wanted her to prove that she was worthy?
So she asked you to steal her recipe?
Rose did have a mischievous side. She thought that Sam Hobbs, being a talented man and a bit of a snob when it comes to Maplewood, might be able to show you how much Cooper's means to this town.
Did you have any other, like, character highlights?
Semi-formal. Is that like hang loose on the bottom, suit and tie up top?
Right. Or is it like go wild up top, keep it business down low?
I don't know if it's like every Hallmark movie or just every bad movie in general, but it's just like these two guys who contribute absolutely nothing.
Yeah,
I can't even remember.
It's supposed to be like comedic relief.
Yeah, but they're like not even in it at all. I actually genuinely can't remember the name of the main character.
Annie.
Okay, Annie. Can you remember the name of the dad?
Sam.
What's the name of the daughter?
Bella.
Like Twilight. Basically, Sam, this is like a very common thing, right? So Sam is a single dad because the mum died.
3 years ago, Bella and I lost her mom.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Because obviously you can't have the dad be divorced because then he's like a deadbeat or whatever. But you got to have him be a dad because then it's like a family movie. So the best way to do that is that the mum died. A worthy sacrifice. The situation puts them together. Because I guess we didn't explain this. They're basically both bakers. He's like a rival baker. Then they kind of have to work together in order to recreate because the formula's stolen, they've got to recreate the recipe from scratch. Essentially, because they're like forced together, it's kind of just like, oh, obviously they're gonna fall in love because we're seeing them spend all this time together. I guess I also feel like the two characters were at that age where, to be honest, if you actually met a half decent person, you would just fall in love with them. Like, I'm sorry, if I was like I don't know how old she would be, but like surely late 30s at least. I mean, the guy is like going grey. So when you're at that kind of age, you meet a guy who's like,
you just take what you can get.
You know, a good-looking dad. He's like, you know, I mean, he bakes cookies. To be honest, he's kind of the perfect man. You're
in love.
Yeah. I'd fall in love with him in an hour and 20 minutes. I think the runtime of the movie is actually how long they spend together. In the grand scheme of Hallmark movies, bad Christmas movies, I loved it. I thought it was the most beautiful thing in the world.
Did you?
Yeah, that was...
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess it was believable, but it just...
Yeah.
You couldn't take it too seriously.
Yeah. I thought there was going to be more like melodrama with like she was going to screw something up or something. Because like sometimes you get that where like there's a misunderstanding or a mistake and, you know, like the whole relationship falls apart. He's just like, oh, you know, I'm worried about my daughter. And then the daughter's like, well, I think Christmas is about love. And then that's how she sounds, right?
She said that.
Well, she's like, oh, mum always said Christmas is all about love, so usually
right.
You should go get her, Dad.
And she always said that Christmas was about love and joy for everyone.
She did say that, didn't she?
So then she meant it for you too, right?
They didn't really like play up that part of her disliking Christmas that much.
That was literally what I was going to... Like, that was going to be my final point. Like, it's kind of the first thing you're introduced to about her. I mean, someone says, like, she's the Grinch.
Wait till they hear that we canceled the Cooper light up.
Sorry, did you say canceled?
Yeah, it was too expensive. I ran it by the board.
Well, that's good.
Because essentially, she's like, very no-nonsense. She's like, oh, all of the Christmas stuff eats into our bottom line. Like, literally how Scrooge is. Like, they basically give her an excuse, so it kind of undercuts it, because she's like, well, we literally can't afford it. And I feel like they shouldn't, because she's basically like, oh, you know, the company was like about to go bankrupt because we were celebrating Christmas. Whereas it would have been better if it was like, they could have afforded to do the Christmas stuff, but she wasn't doing it anyway because she didn't appreciate Christmas.
Bravo!
Summarize and give it a rating, a numerical rating, the only true way to express.
Out of 10?
You can even simplify it down to just stars, like 5 stars. It's up to you.
Oh.
Or 5 Christmas trees.
Yeah, star rating. I'd give it... I'd give it like 2 stars.
2 stars. I don't know, because I thought it was a whole load of fun.
Yeah, you like cheesy things, though.
I was like smiling. I was like, oh my god!
He's like really into it.
I can also recognize that it wasn't the greatest cinema.
It was too fruity.
It was too fruity. There was some stuff they introduced that they didn't really go anywhere with. Like, literally every single time there was a suspect in the cookie thing. But I thought the romance was solid. I mean, I'm going to give it a middling 5, though. I think it was just right down the middle. You know, if I was
5
giving
out of 10.
Yeah.
5 stars.
So yeah, I'm gonna give it 5 stars. This is my Citizen Kane, because I feel like if I was just going by how much I was like loving it, I'd give it a 10. But I also recognize I have to be a little bit professional and objective and say that there were some issues. Spinning. It's gonna be Christmas plus 1. All right. So we've had like that movie had a romance element. Presumably, this movie's going to be like just pure rom-com.
I hope so.
Does that sound like it's up your alley? All right. So this is Christmas plus 1 going in. Well.
Okay, so we just finished Christmas plus 1. I will start and say that it was better than the first one. Would you like to explain what went on?
Yeah, I will. Okay. So basically, this movie, it's got a pretty simple plot. A woman wishes to meet her soulmate. So, like, she literally does, like, a Christmas wish. She meets this one guy, and they, like, get along, but then she loses his number. She's going round to all of her favourite Christmas places in the hope of meeting him again. But at the same time, there's another character called Michael, which is my name, who is writing a article for Christmas, and it's about like spending Christmas in New York. And for contrived reasons, she basically agrees to like, since she's going around to all her favorite spots anyway, she's like, oh, I'll take you to all my favorite spots. And then basically they start falling in love. And my theory about this is that the people who came out of the movie were racist, because the guy she's chasing, who's literally called Chase, is a black guy. I know like Hallmark's considered like very like white. He's not even like, he's a pretty light-skinned black dude, but I think someone was like, this guy, he's still too black. You know, we've got to have her end up, we can't be too controversial. Like, I feel like Hallmark's still stuck in the 50s.
There were a plethora of black men, black characters, who seemed to definitely be side characters that like provided a lot of guidance and like almost therapy for the main characters.
You have feelings for her, yes?
What?
No. Really?
Which seems to be a thing.
Yeah, like a trope.
Yeah.
Yeah, a trope with a perfectly politically correct name that I'm not going to say, but I'll put it up on screen. The more appropriate word I used, I think, was I said like African American genies, because it's kind of like they have some kind of magical essence where they know.
Yeah.
And there's like 3 of them, because the main guy's the barista.
Yeah.
Who's like giving everyone advice, and like he feels he's got the biggest Cupid energy. Like it feels like he's just floating through our world, just setting people up. And then the guy's boss, who's like, oh, because the guy wants to be a novel writer.
An author.
An author, that's it, yeah. The guy wants to be an author, basically gives him a pep talk about, you gotta do this, you know, you gotta follow your dreams, blah, blah, blah.
You and I both know that you're too good for this job.
In the end, Chase also ends up becoming, like, basically a therapist. Because, well, the ending is where it gets really confusing, because obviously it's like, oh, it's a fun premise, you know, she's looking for her soulmate, but in doing that, she ends up forming a deeper connection with another guy. But the problem is they keep, like, having near misses.
Yeah.
With that dude. And it was quite clever the way they did that.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously when he does eventually, like, they do eventually meet and she finds out that he's been following her and she's been following him, like, that creates controversy or, like, a complication, because it's like, well, she's been pursuing this guy the whole time, but now she doesn't really like him. I think they handle it kind of well, like, that situation. It doesn't feel pointless or stupid.
Yeah, I mean, they just resolve it basically by the main girl and Chase. They end up going on a date, but the whole time the main girl is just talking about Michael.
Oh, yeah.
So Chase is kind of like,
he's getting verbally
we're
cucked.
not... This isn't gonna work out. And she's like, what? Why? And then he's like, you know why.
You make him sound more bitter than he does, I think. I like how he said, there was a bit where he's like, you could have been, like, well, not we could have been something great. He's like, you could have been something great. And it's like, oh.
Yeah, it was like, if this was a different time, you could have been something great.
Yeah, you really let yourself down.
Ouch.
I think if the timing was different, maybe you could have been something great.
This has like 2 interesting crossovers with the movie we just watched. Cookie Christmas, whatever it was called. Christmas Cookie Catastrophe, that's it. One,
Christmas.
There's like a romantic scene where the 2 bake together, even though this movie has nothing to do with baking.
Yeah.
She wants to be a graphic designer, he wants to be an author, but for some reason they had to have a baking scene. But the baking scene is so stupid, right?
Because, oh man, the main girl's sister is getting...
Yeah, we didn't even touch on that.
Yeah, is getting married.
To a gay guy.
for sure. And the main girl had the responsibility of picking up the wedding cake, but she completely lost track of time and the bakery closed before she could pick up the cake. So Michael and the main girl just go to the coffee shop, and Michael was like, hey, this is an emergency. We have to use your kitchen.
And then the other similarity, and we didn't even touch on this with the Christmas cookie catastrophe, is every single character has to have a backstory where someone dies to the point it gets comedic. Like, I feel really bad because it's like this character is clearly winding up to be like, yeah, you know, I really liked my dad until he died. And I'm just like it's easily the funniest part of these movies. Just the way.
Yeah, everything's going so well, and then they're like, oh, but my dad died.
Yeah, the best one in Christmas Catastrophe, where she was like, both my parents died in a car crash. Just like, because like obviously that would already
trauma,
because the dad was like, yeah, my wife died, and she's like, yeah, both my parents died.
Yeah, you think that's bad? Both of my parents died.
Yeah, and then this guy, his dad died when he was like 17, and like that's the sad backstory because I think his dad wanted to be an author, so it's like there's the trauma attached to that. Yeah, there wasn't too much melodrama. The only drama was when like basically Michael kept the fact that Chase like was around secret, and she was mad. She was like, I don't think I can trust him. And then I guess like the conclusion was just, well, he didn't tell you because he loved you so much, and that means it's fine. Good advice.
Yeah, always withhold information if it means you love them.
So this also has a bit of a Scrooge element to it. It's
but
not yeah.
It's not a major detail.
Yeah. Sounds like you can use a double shot, double whipped cream, candy cane eggnog latte. I'll get you your regular. You're no fun.
It's like so basically the reason why he needs her to show around the spots is because he doesn't really like oh, and his dad died around Christmas, obviously.
Then what did you wish for?
What a happy story. So
yeah, don't you just love when everything works out?
It's nothing like real life. So what do you think?
My star rating would be, I might give this a 4-star rating.
Yeah, it really wasn't bad. Like the premise was good. It was entertaining. I mean, it was definitely better. I'm like wondering if I might give it a... See, I don't think I'd go as high as an equivalent to a 4, which would be like a 7 or an 8. I'm getting bored of saying middling. I might upgrade the last one. I might upgrade the last one to a high 5. Because it was fun. Maybe not, though. But I'm going to say this one's... you just clap a... Is that a fly?
I was high-fiving. Because he said, I'm going to give this a high 5.
Oh my goodness, I didn't get that at all. Okay. I thought that was just like a fly buzzing around you. I'm going to give this one like a middling 6. But again, I mean, I almost honestly like the way it's like so Christmassy, and I love it. I could rate it higher. But
I think 6 makes sense.
Yeah. I'm gonna give it a high 6. I don't know how to do a high 6. That's it, yeah. It's Planes, Trains, and Christmas Trees. Whoa!
I'm gonna guess that this has something to do about missing a flight.
Oh, yeah. Do you know the movie Planes, Trains, and Automobiles?
Yeah, I don't think I've seen it, though.
Okay, yeah. So that's also about missing a flight. Yeah, so I'll be interested to see how similar this is to Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Anyway, so we're going to make dinner, which is going to be... I already said it, actually. Earlier on.
Thai curry.
Yeah, and then I was like, oh, which is kind of Christmassy because it can be green and red. Just like Christmas. We're going to pretend that we're going to watch it right now, but we're not actually. I don't want to lie to them. So we're going to make dinner, watch it, and then come back with our thoughts. Well, that's number 3. Hannah, what was the plot?
Oh my. It was a pretty simple plot. But basically, the main girl needs to catch a connecting flight to get to New York. But of course, the connecting flight gets canceled because of the snowy weather. And then she meets this guy at the airport who also needs to get to New York.
The town I grew up in is a few miles away. I could ask my uncle if we could stay in his guest house for the night, and then we could leave in the morning.
And then they kind of get roped into the small towns like Christmas festival and planning it.
The big thing for me is, unlike Planes, Trains and Automobiles, so Planes, Trains and Automobiles is about them traveling. Mm-hmm. And here, you kind of assume that's going to, because it's like, okay, they can't get the plane at first. So they like go to this guest house or whatever. But you're like, okay, they're probably going to progress. Like, you assume they're going to be moving along, and as they're traveling, they're going to fall in love. But really, it doesn't make much sense because, to be honest, most of the movie is actually just them being static. They spend 5 days in this town. There's not really any effort that they make to actually get out of there. They're just like, oh no, we've got to get our flight. Oh, we haven't got a flight. Oh, well, okay, we'll just like stay here. I suppose we haven't said this yet. For me, this was easily the worst movie. And it's not just like, you'd think, oh, well, you've watched 3 of them. Obviously, you're going to find the third one boring because you're going to get tired of it. I really feel like I'm glad this wasn't the first movie we watched, because I think if this was the first movie, it would have set the tone very negatively.
Yeah.
I think no matter when we watch this, because it was just so, it was very superficial. I was going to ask, what did you think of the romance element in contrast to the other films?
Well, I mentioned that it just wasn't as believable in this film. Like, the chemistry between the 2 main characters wasn't that strong, it didn't feel like.
It felt like you could tell they were just acting.
Yeah, I feel like their connection was fast, I guess, compared to the other ones.
Yeah, it was fast, and like the logic for it didn't feel as organic. Where it was kind of almost like they're like, oh, I guess because we're staying in this place together, we should fall in love. The other thing about it is the characterization in general was a lot more stupid. Like, you were just kind of like told these things, but it wasn't like subtle.
Okay, time is 4:26. Be back here for 4:30.
You give me 4 minutes to use the bathroom?
Yeah.
The other issue is the guy himself looked very creepy.
Yeah.
I felt like
we didn't like the guy.
He looked like a weird cross between Zac Efron and Jake Gyllenhaal to me. Like, that's what...
Yeah,
that's
I could see that.
Yeah, and it scared me.
Yeah, because, you know, have you seen Zac Efron currently?
Oh, is he looking like really weird now?
Yeah.
Oh, good. I bet he wishes he could be 17 again. We need to talk about the best character in the whole movie. I don't mean the girl with the really weird voice.
He's the uncle that always sends me lots of candy.
I mean...
Uncle.
The uncle. So the uncle... It's just... So, one of the reasons why the plot isn't that interesting is because it's mostly just them doing errands for the whole movie. Like, they're just there and everyone's just like, oh, can you help with... It's like a, you know, RPG. But the best part is the uncle is he injures his hand and he spends almost the entire movie just being like, oh, could you do this thing? I'd do it, but, you know, my hand. And it just became like a punchline every single time. Like, someone would mention something that needs doing. And
he'd be like, yeah, I would do it, but...
My hand, it's just...
Can you do it for me?
And I mean, well,
every time.
That's the other thing about, like, the guy, the main love interest guy, feeling a bit, like, is that he, at the beginning, he kept volunteering her for stuff in a way that felt kind of out of place. Like, it was a bit presumptive.
Kaylee and I will help with the festival prep until you get back.
He was like, oh, she can do this. Yeah, don't worry. Yeah, she'll do that for you.
Yeah, meanwhile, they literally just met.
Yeah. The one thing I'll credit the uncle with is that he reminded me of John Lithgow's character in Daddy's Home 2, which is actually the best Christmas movie of all time. So, you know, like, it was nice to be reminded of that. It didn't lean as much into the melodrama with, like, people being dead. There was someone who was dead.
Yeah, the main guy's...
His wife was dead. Although the woman has a boyfriend. So you got it, like, this guy is just being cucked. Like, he's texting her the whole time, like, how are you doing? How are things in this romantic winter getaway with this guy that you randomly met? And she's like, yeah, cool,
well, what are we going to do about us?
Yeah.
That would be great.
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 Okay.
Great.
Great. Okay, great.
We could have been something great.
That would be great.
Great.
Great. Okay, great. Great to see you.
I would give this probably a 2 out of 5 as well.
Yeah, so for me, this is worse, markedly worse than the Christmas Cookies one, because at least the Christmas Cookies one, it was like an interesting premise. This movie just felt very hollow, very empty. For me, it's like if you do this kind of movie well, then it is nice and kind of cheesy fun. But if you fail, it comes across really hollow. I honestly think I'm gonna give this movie a legit high 2.
Oof.
Which I know is like quite a lot below the Cookies movie. But the Cookies movie, you know, it had some fun stuff going on. This movie just felt cynical. Like it felt like it didn't have a soul. Or a Christmas spirit, if you will.
Yeah. I mean, it was very Christmassy.
Yeah. I mean, even...
But I don't know.
I didn't even like the house they were at as much, to be
warmth
honest.
Wasn't really there.
Yeah. I guess we should just say bye.
Bye.
Everyone watching, at this Christmas time, we wish a Merry Christmas to all of you from all of us. I kind of look shorter than you. Okay.
You're just like, guys, from me to you.
Yeah. Merry Christmas. God bless us, everyone.
God bled. He did.
Don't forget to subscribe and click here to watch more videos. There'll be a video here. Or here. Around somewhere. Bye.